Good evening, Millersville, and welcome to Ville News. I'm your host tonight, Aaron Chun. Tonight, we investigate the brand new Turning Point USA chapter of Millersville, how the Millersville Disability Film Festival brings media representation to individuals with disabilities, Cinemart's new budget deal, and Pride Fest kicks off on campus. But first, a deep dive into how farm preservation in Pennsylvania has become a major part of Governor Shapiro's vision for the Commonwealth. Ville News is coming up now. We start off tonight in Lebanon County, PA, where Governor Josh Shapiro and the Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture Secretary Russell Redding visited the Talview Dairy Farm to celebrate a major milestone in Pennsylvania's history. Over 6,600 farms and over 650,000 acres of farmland has been successfully preserved across the Commonwealth. This is the most farmland that has been preserved of any state in the United States. Governor Josh Shapiro visited a dairy farm in Lebanon County to speak about farmland preservation.
Ag is key to our economic growth for the future of this Commonwealth. And we have invested mightily, more money for capital for our farmers than ever before. You know, Pennsylvania was just recognized as the only state in the entire northeastern portion of the United States to have a growing economy. All the others are slipping back or are stagnant. Pennsylvania's economy is growing, and a big part of that is because we are investing in agriculture.
The Shapiro administration is defending Pennsylvanian farmers in federal court after the Trump administration terminated a $13 million assistance program. Transitioning now to a new chapter in Millersville's student campus life, Millersville University is now home to a chapter of Turning Point USA, a conservative student organization founded in 2012 by Charlie Kirk, who was murdered at a Utah college campus in September. Turning Point USA has grown into a national movement with chapters at schools across the country and hosts events with high-profile speakers. Here's Nikki and Olivia with the latest.
I love, and we all love, everyone the same. We are not racist, we are not sexist, we do not discriminate on the basis of race, sex, your gender identity, or your preference for who your partner is. Immigrants built this country. We're anti-illegal immigration.
Millersville University is now home to a chapter of Turning Point USA, a conservative student organization founded in 2012 by Charlie Kirk. Turning Point USA has grown into a national movement with chapters at schools across the country and hosts events with high-profile speakers.
We value patriotism, freedom, free markets, and limited government.
Most of our goals are going to be philanthropy-based, so we plan to team up with women's shelters in surrounding areas. We hope to conduct food drives during the holidays and more.
Since the chapter's launch at Millersville, Turning Point has stirred debate across campus. Many students declined to comment, but one student, Justin Goldband, shared his perspective.
Personally, I'm not a fan of the new echo chamber that is Turning Point USA on this campus. I feel like with the death of Charlie Kirk, it's led to perpetuated ignorance, and this group is just an example of that. I feel like anyone with common sense will tell you their ideologies are false, such as free market and limited government. From the looks of it, the group just seems to consist of uninformed conservatives who refuse to acknowledge the problems that lie behind the man Charlie Kirk.
While opinions on the chapter vary, the director of campus life says there are benefits to getting involved.
Student orgs are a great way for you to make friends, find your social groups, ways to have fun and enjoy your time outside of the classroom. Again, like the transferable skills that I mentioned are very valuable, and that's what's going to set you apart from other candidates when you're applying for jobs out there after graduation. And ultimately, we just want to figure out how we can help make Millersville the best 4 years.
Reporting from Millersville University, the new Turning Point chapter has sparked conversation and debate among students, but it's also opened doors for campus involvement and dialogue. Back to you in the studio.
We'd like to thank Nikki and Olivia for reporting on one of Millersville's most controversial new clubs. The 11th Annual Disability Film Festival was held last Thursday, spreading awareness of an underrepresented group on campus. Here's Theo Vela to share the story.
The lack of media representation for people living with disabilities in the Millersville area has become a concern for many. The Disability Film Festival Committee has continued to combat this concern by hosting their 11th Annual Disability Film Festival. The event took place on October 16th in Macumsey Hall. Holding up the Disabilities Act, the committee strives to bring more media representation for people living with disabilities into the world of film and documentaries.
Film, to me, has always been about sharing perspectives on the world, and I think that there have been a lot of times throughout history where certain voices in marginalized communities have been attempted to be silenced, and film has been one of the ways in which we can get our voices out there.
Disability studies is one of my research areas, and I picked it for a number of reasons, in part because of who I am and how I process the world, in part because of some family connections, and in part because it matters, right? Like, it's an ethical way to look at and think about how we treat a certain group of people and how we depict a certain group of people.
Dr. Baldes is the chair for the Disability Film Festival Committee and is an associate professor in the World Language and English Department. The goal for this film festival is to bring more media representation into light and bring forth justice for people with disabilities.
Media representation of disability matters a lot, and so I think the film festival overlaps with that issue in a lot of helpful ways that can encourage us to continue to think about issues of disability representation and where we can push even further.
The Millersville Disability Film Festival Committee's main goal is to bring an underrepresented community into the shining light that they deserved. The committee has also organized another film festival event November 13th at the Ware Center. For Ville News, I'm Theo Vela.
This is an event on campus that people may overlook that brings valuable media representation. Moving on to Millersville's Pride Fest. Pride Fest is a celebration of the LGBTQ representation, not just for Millersville, but also students in the surrounding area. Here's Max Vigue with the latest.
Pride Fest is a celebration of the LGBTQ representation, not just for Millersville, but students also in the surrounding area. Students have an opportunity to celebrate their identities or celebrate the friends and family they've known in these communities.
I know it is something that many members of our community, and not just our faculty, staff, and students, but members in the Millersville and the Lancaster community, they know we're going to have this event every October. And so it is not just, although it is sponsored here at Millersville, and it's very much something that we take pride in and have for many years, it is something that the greater community looks to us to host every year.
Additionally, people are also able to attend drag shows and even interact with the drag queens performing in competitions such as Ahmad Abdul Basit, a student of the university.
It's very cool. Like, everybody's so accepting. The energy is just so high, and everybody's just so is just here for it. I think this represents how including and inclusive Millersville is as a community. I think the most important thing about Pride Fest is just having fun, being yourself, and don't let any negativity get here, and just spread the positivity.
While the political landscape of the United States today has put events like these at the forefront of heated discussions, Millersville as an institution has remained dedicated to putting on events such as Pride Fest, believing it aligns very much so with their epic values.
For students to feel seen, heard, mattered, to know that we care who they are as individuals, and we're helping them celebrate that and to be their authentic selves, just makes everything worth it. I think that's an important message to tell our students, is we celebrate who you are as individuals. So we just want everybody to figure out who they are during college and who you want to become, and we want to figure out how best to support you.
Despite a changing political landscape and social climate, the university remains steadfast and dedicated into hosting Pride Fest on an annual basis. Not only do they see it as a place where LGBTQ+ students from across the county can come celebrate their identities, they view it as intertwined with their epic values and their mission as a higher education institution. This is Maxwell Vigu reporting from the Student Memorial Center. Back to you in the studio.
We'd like to thank Max for showing off the beauty and importance of Pride Fest in our community. Lastly, the student-run theater club, Cinemard, is facing some challenges as they prepare to open their upcoming production of A Midsummer Night's Dream. Their funding requests were recently denied by the Student Government Association not once, but twice. Our team looked into what happened and how both sides are responding. We also have our own Victor Fallis with an exclusive in-studio interview with the show's director, Pierce Mayu, right after this.
The student-run theater club Cinemard is preparing for their upcoming production of A Midsummer Night's Dream, but this semester the group's funding request was denied by the Student Government Association, forcing them to make some creative adjustments.
I was really hoping a lot of the costs would be covering props, costumes, but now that we don't have that, it sort of made it a little more difficult for all those things. They denied it because of a lack of proper documentation, whereas we would need to take pictures literally of every single thing that we have.
Despite our budget being declined, we're still trying our best to move forward, and the best way to do that is to just communicate with everyone and have everyone know and tell everyone be patient, because we're all students. This is not our full-time job. We're all doing this for fun.
We also reached out to Tyler Unruh, the Student Government Association's Director of Finance, for a response.
They did not have any documentation whatsoever. What they did is they submitted the spreadsheet twice for their request.
Earlier today, we stopped by the office of Jonathan Strayer, the advisor of Cinemard, to ask about the recent budget denial for the student-run play. We had reached out to Mr. Strayer by email earlier this week, but we did not receive a response. When we followed up in person, he declined to comment and instead referred us to the club's president or treasurer for any statements. Even with a tight budget, Cinemard says the show must go on. Their production of A Midsummer Night's Dream opens tomorrow and runs through October 25th in Clare Hall. Back to you in the studio.
10, 9. Lest thy peril thou abidest dear. Oh, look where thy love comes. Yonder is thy dear.
Welcome back. I'm Victor Fallis. For Ville News, we welcome Pierce Mayu, who is the director of Cinemard's production of Midsummer Night's Dream. Pierce, how has this budget denial affected production, and have there been any adjustments?
Yeah, so the denial of the budget has certainly affected our production. If you go see it, you might notice that there are less production elements or less scenic elements that we could have had if we did have a budget with the SGA. But it's certainly, okay. We've been trying our best to work with it, and we have had a lot of really good actors and a lot of good people donate a lot of costumes, a lot of props, and especially some scenic elements. So yeah, that's really one way that we have sort of adapted to this challenge. But we have found it to be, definitely pretty difficult getting in the space, at least, 2 weeks ago, and putting it all together, just so quickly.
100%. You have to maneuver that.
Mm-hmm.
Very challenging. And regardless of these challenges, the show must go on.
Yeah.
Where have you been digging for the motivation and the fire to keep going with this production?
Yeah. So it's definitely a lot more difficult, being a student on campus and taking, 18 credits as I am, and, just like trying my best to do what I can for the actors. But I think at the end of the day, the actors having their own performance is what is enough to keep me going. There were definitely some moments where I kind of thought, yeah, this isn't going to be great, and that's kind of it. But, you know, I kept pushing, and I think we're putting on a really good show. All the actors are so motivated, and, you know, everyone is just so, it's almost like a family. Everyone's so happy to be where they are. And I think it's really important to support the arts that way. Yeah.
So essentially, with your hard work, it's still just creating itself, essentially.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they inspire me, and I hope that, you know, I am doing my best to inspire and support them with whatever I can. And, you know, I mean, my stage manager, Adrian Medina, is definitely a big help there as well.
That's great. That's great. We would like to thank Pierce Mayu for his time in the studio today and sharing with us this information. I would like to thank all the talented people here in WIC Studio 1. With Ville News, I'm Victor Fallis. Have a great night, Millersville.